So, what does it actually mean? The observer is the observed. Now, we're going to dive into this, but if you're looking for a logical explanation, you're not going to find that here. This is something, or rather, this is an attempt to rather point you in a direction or sort of enable you to dig deeper into the thick layers that are blocking the very essence of who and what you are, and allow that which is seeking or the attempt to find out, allow that to sort of penetrate so that that answer to know is not answered by any person. It's not answered through words, but you directly experiencing that within yourself. So from the perspective of the observer is the observed, the general notion is that there is an observer, which is the self, which is the I, and this I is sort of the one that is seeing, receiving of other, which is external in nature. That words, the observer is the observed, means that what one who is called the observer is observing, there's no difference. Now, on a deeper level, this is sort of what points to something called as samadhi. And samadhi is not something that can be intellectually understood or be translated or be explained or given some definition on the level of mind for you to perceive through the level of mind. That is not possible. So we're going to look at something in this process, which we'll go through together, that will sort of allow the conducive environment that you are creating in this process. And we can't approach it from a perspective of wanting an outcome, because that is still striving. To give you an example, if you take a lighter, which you use to maybe light a candle, the lighter, if I ask you this question, look into it. What does the lighter need to do in order to realize that it is a lighter? So the same thing has to apply here. When we are seeking deeply between what we are, who we are, those questions are actually incorrect. But because of lack of words, of communication purposes, to point you, we are using these type of words. So we are using these questions as instruments of self-inquiry. As long as there's a belief outside of yourself that someone will give you an answer, some method, some process will lead you to that result, all attempts in that pursuit will be forfeited. So in other words, nothing will happen. Nothing will change. But you got to ask yourself, does anything really need to change? No. So when we look at time, for instance, time is sort of something that doesn't exist. So when one treks on the path of enlightenment, or one is trekking on the path of self-realization to realize themselves, what they are now, when you hear these words, it is something which is called as the false self, which is the I that is trying to become enlightened. It is the I that is wanting something. So this I, if you feel into the whole entire body of this I, this is not you. This I, what you're calling is the false self, is the whole entire gathering of that, which is something that you picked up. So it is something also that you can modify and change throughout your entire life. So it's not permanent. And because it's not permanent, it is constantly changing. If something is malleable and changing, it is not directly related to what you are, because what you are is permanent and it is unchanging. So, with regards to time, irrespective of the pursuit that one wants to become enlightened, one wants to realize the self, in that process, that means I am going to become. You see, you can't become something that you already are. So the whole entire spiritual process is trying to penetrate into those thick layers of repeated patterns that has been accumulated by yourself, and all we are trying to do is trying to clear out the patterns. We're trying to create a gap. We're trying to create a little space in that pattern, trying to break that pattern for a split second, because that is all that is needed. So once you are able to slip through the cracks of that pattern, the self is revealed. So if you look at enlightenment, there's no such thing. We'll just call it awakening, which is seems to be a more appropriate word, because it hasn't been messed up so much. This awakening of what one is not anything that you think or that you have gathered. So let's go into a process, right? As a pointer. Right now, I want you to just feel. You can close your eyes if you want to, or you can keep them open. It doesn't matter. I want you to feel right now in this present moment. Feel the whole entire, what you're calling as the self. If you've had some experience that may be coming up from within yourself, feel that entire experience itself. That which is experiencing everything, that which has suffered in the past, that which is listening, that which is seeing, that which is feeling, that primordial awareness that is there and that is present is not you. And this might be something for some people that are very difficult to accept. And the reason why it's difficult to accept is because you've lived your whole entire life believing that you are this character playing a specific role on this planet or in this creation, this individualized sense of self, that there's an I and that which is out there is different. The whole entire self that is trying to experience anything or has experienced anything is not you. So when you die, what is it that ends? It's all of this self which you are. What is it that comes to an end? It is you that comes to an end. Or what is awakening? Awakening is the you that you awaken from. Don't just believe these words which are being uttered because these are just sounds, but rather create for yourself a desire to want to really know, not as something that can be known in the future, but something that is very present and permeating through my being right now and through yourself, that is ever present, that's always accessible. You may have heard of a soul, of the word consciousness, and if you dug a bit deeper on your path, you would have come across a word called awareness. These are just a combination of sounds that have absolutely no meaning. So even these concepts which you have gathered about yourself, even those concepts itself is not that. What you are can never be spoken of, neither you can achieve it, neither can you have it, neither can you get it. We can even go deeper and say that you may never awaken. on an even deeper level, no person from time immemorial has ever had any type of awakening experience. So no one has ever awoken. But then the mind has spent a lot of time with a false self and the body, and there may have been separation, whether the mind is a self that's aware, and then there's the body that is there. And all these three things are different. And all of these things that are different, that are present, there has been knowledge about these things, and awareness brought, which has created the separateness, not only internally, but externally as well. So on a deeper level, there is no this and there is no that. You are not separate from anything. The whole entire universe or creation, if you want to go to that extent, is not separate. You are not separate from it. What creates the separateness is the information, the knowledge that you have gained, and whatever you have absorbed in your lifetime through experience, which has created that separateness. If you look at a wall, it doesn't tell you anything about it. If you look at a fruit, the fruit doesn't tell you anything about it. So, what is it that tells you that what a fruit is or what a wall is separate from you? It's that knowledge. It's that information that is there. That is the bridge between the absolute oneness or the absolute separateness. So the mind may listen to this and create an image or a picture of it, and that is okay, because the mind can never understand. The mind is not capable of knowing. The mind does not know, but yet it still strives to know. It still strives for answers. You are not that which is striving for answers. You are not that which questions anything. Feel the silence beyond the silence. Listen to what is being said beyond the sound. There is no person that can give you or tell you what you are other than you having a direct contact or a direct experience, for lack of words, of what you are. Awakening is like then the mind might be waiting for an answer. It might be a part of you that wants to know, and that which wants to know, if you hold on to that desire for knowing, if you realize that you don't know anything, you bring yourself to an I don't know state of mind. And specifically, if you understand that no one is coming to save you, no one can give you that answer, and you don't know anything, from now till death, it will still remain the same. You will die not knowing anything, and there's no way to know. If you hold that state of being, and we go into the I don't know mind. I did touch upon it, but we'll just touch on it just a bit more here. If you look at a tree, the only reason why we call it a tree is because we have been taught that that is what a tree is. If you continue to go back throughout history, no one knew what a tree was. So they made it up and they gave it a name. We may know how to use the tree and use things in life, but we don't know really what it is. What we're saying when we're saying, I know what it is all about concepts, all about information. It's just sounds that have no meaning. The sounds of animals is equivalent to the sounds of human beings. It's just noise that's just being perfectly spaced out in the correct sequence in order to form something that is identified as words. We are creating the meaning of it. This is also an indicator as to that you are the creator of your own world. That is true for the unawakened individual, and for the awakened one, it is even on a more deeper level. I am everyone, not as the false self, but as the absolute primordial self. From that point of a direct experience of awakening, there is no question, there is no questioner, there is no experiencer, there is no witness, there is no self And anything that you believe or you think that what awakening is, it is not that. And the more longer that you continue to hold on to all of these beliefs and these concepts and language and give importance to these things, the more you remain stuck, and you may spend an eternity, if you have that amount of time given to you, continuously searching for something that which is searching for will never find. When all methods are dropped, but there is a burning desire to find out, not tomorrow, but to find out now. You must also understand that the past does not exist, the future does not exist, because past and future also indicate or point towards time, and even the now doesn't exist, because the now means that there was a past and now we are in a state called the now, and then there will also be a future which is to come. So just try to stay with that, and it should unwind if you manage to hold that or remain in that state. This is your natural state. Just be there. Know that there is nothing to achieve. There is nothing to get. This is sort of a pathless path. And a pathless path means that there is no path. And because there is no path, there is no distance. And if there's no distance, it also implies that there is no time, because there is no time that exists, no time that is needed for you to awaken. It should happen in an instant.